I've been in a lot of competitive arenas as a player and as a coach. There was nothing better that I've ever been in than what happened on Saturday night.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley, and today we're going to talk about Josh Heupel. We're going to talk about Coach of the Year. See a lot of you guys drop that in the comments. What exactly does Coach of the Year mean? What do you base that criteria on? Kirk Herbstreit had some interesting things to say about this football program, and Josh Heupel including an interesting statement about recruiting. So we'll take a look at that. As always, do me a favor, go ahead and smash that like button just below the video. If you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, you're wondering what this is. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. If you enjoy the content here, go ahead and subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop new content. And we will be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you'll tune in for that. And then, as always, we'll be live Saturday immediately following the game. But let's jump into this article. This is from a new website that a listener sent to me. I've been kind of checking it out the last day or so. It's pretty good. It's called on3.com. It's a new recruiting site, kind of like Rivals 24/7. They do some interesting things. They show you where the player grades out with all of the recruiting sites, which I like that. But the article here says Kirk Herbstreit heaps praise on Josh Heupel of Tennessee. So let's take a look at the article here. It says Josh Heupel and Tennessee are going bowling. The Volunteers got their 6th win last week to become bowl eligible, and ESPN analyst Kirk Herbstreit is most impressed with their turnaround season. Says here, after going 3-7 under Jeremy Pruitt last year, Heupel came in from UCF, turned things around in Knoxville. Some important pieces transferred, and Tennessee was picked to finish 5th out of 7 teams in the SEC East. Now the Volunteers are 6-5, and Herbstreit talked about the job Heupel has done in year 1 at the helm. And that's where I go back to, when you talk about Coach of the Year, what is the criteria for that? Do you hand it over to a guy like Nick Saban? Do you hand it over to a guy like Kirby Smart? When you look at the Paul Bear Bryant Coach of the Year watch list, you look at the SEC, Josh Heupel's not even mentioned on the watch list. You've got Jimbo Fisher from Texas A&M. Again, you're talking about a guy that, and kudos to Jimbo Fisher, he's recruited the talent, but he's had top 10 classes the last few years. Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Mark Stoops round out the watch list for the SEC. So again, Josh Heupel not even mentioned. What do you look for in Coach of the Year? Do you give it to a guy like Kirby Smart, who I'm still waiting on him to implode? Seems to happen every single year for the Georgia Bulldogs, but looks like he's trending towards an SEC championship, a national championship. Do you give it to that guy? Or do you give it to a guy who's done more with less? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Hit that comment section and let me know, because I see a lot of you seem to put that down there, that Josh Heupel is the Coach of the Year. But here's the quote from Kirk Herbstreit. He says, raise your hand. How many people had Josh Heupel getting 6, more likely 7 wins and going to a bowl game in his first year? Herbstreit said on ESPN College Football Podcast. Says after everything, the transfer portal, it was a one-way street out of Knoxville, and this dude goes there with a new AD, Danny White, out of UCF, and these boys, they're creating a little buzz, man, with that offense. Hendon Hooker scoring on a lot of people, including Alabama. They become a fun team to watch, and they're going to recruit very well. I'm going to get back into that in just a second, talking about recruiting there. It says Tennessee is a stock that's going up. You're going to want to buy that stock. Good for Hype, getting his team to a bowl game as well. That's the quote from Kirk Herbstreit. What do you guys think? Stock is going up. Man, it's battered VAWLS syndrome, because I seem to be regularly telling myself, stop believing, stop buying in so much, because I do it. I'm guilty as charged with every coach that's come into Tennessee. I did it with Derek Dooley. I did it when Lane Kiffin came in and then hit the road the next year. I did it with Butch Jones. I did it with Jeremy Pruitt. I do it with every single coach. So maybe it is just battered VAWLS syndrome as I try to talk myself down. Don't get too excited. Don't believe, because it is going to come down to recruiting. I truly believe Josh Heupel is an X's and O's guy. All year long, we have seen him scheme guys open. I feel like Tim Banks has overperformed. I think Tim Banks has done a lot for this Tennessee defense, but they're going to have to recruit. And it goes back to what Kirk Herbstreit just says there. You know, talking about Hendon Hooker scoring on a lot of people. Fun team to watch. All that. We've seen it. We've seen it all. The proof's there. But the final comment, they're going to recruit very well. He doesn't just say they're going to recruit okay, they're going to do all right. No, they're going to recruit very well. Now, there was a quote that came out from Tim Banks, who was speaking at the Knoxville Quarterback Club on Monday. Seen a lot of articles about this as well. Walter Nolan, number one ranked player in the class of 22. We all know who he is. We follow his recruitment. He bounces around all over the place. But a quote from Tim Banks as Walter Nolan sat in the crowd talking about Coach Garner here. He says, I think if you look at his resume, I think it speaks for itself. But by far, he is the best in the country. And you would be a fool not to want to come to play for him at the University of Tennessee. If you want to play in the NFL, it would be a good starting place for you. He might as well gone ahead and said Walter Nolan at the beginning of that statement. You would be a fool not to come play for Rodney Garner if you want to get to the NFL. That was the quote from Tim Banks. And I think when we start to look at recruiting, are they going to be able to recruit well? The concern starts now with the class of 22. We've talked about it before. Josh Heupel is going to have to go into the transfer portal, and I believe he will do that. But we're talking about Rodney Garner here. And there was a lot of people that were upset about Vincent Sneed once he decommitted. He was processed out. He was told to look elsewhere. Why would you tell a guy that has been committed as long as Vincent Sneed has been committed? Why would you tell him to look elsewhere? Rodney Garner has to have the big fish on the hook. I'm telling you guys, I believe we are about to get excited. And maybe I'm wrong. The first name I would start with would be Tyree West. Just recently decommitted from Georgia. Now, Austin Price over at VolQuest.com says he is trending towards Florida State. Can Tennessee get him on campus? Can Tennessee get him in a room with Rodney Garner? Pulling up his information here over on On3. 6'3", 280-pound defensive lineman. The On3 consensus player rating is a 4-star. Can Tennessee get him on campus? Can they get him to Knoxville? I really, truly believe Rodney Garner has got something cooked up, because you don't just tell a 4-star Vincent Sneed to look elsewhere. Obviously, we already got the commitment from Joshua Joseph. And get Tyree West, a 5-star, I believe, when you look at Rivals.com. Can you get Walter Nolan? How much does this class change for the class of 22 if you get Walter Nolan, 5-star defensive lineman, Tyree West, 5-star defensive lineman? But there's also another name, number one JUCO player in the country on the defensive line, Jeffrey Mabah. Can Rodney Garner pull these three cats? You talk about making a difference on the defensive line. We already saw the improvement on the defensive line from coaching alone from Rodney Garner. How much did this team improve on the defensive line in under a year? Now, Jeffrey Mabah was on campus. He's going to officially visit December 3rd, I believe it is. Can they get Tyree West? Can they get him on campus? I go back to the quote from Tim Banks. Rodney Garner's the best in the country. You would be a fool not to want to come play for him at the University of Tennessee. Kirk Herbstreit said it. Hendon Hooker, the offense, fun to watch. They're going to recruit very well. Leave me a comment. Let me know, guys. There's a lot of speculation here. It's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. Can Rodney Garner go get these three names I just mentioned? Can he pull Walter Nolan? I truly don't. I don't think his commitment to Texas A&M means anything. Like I said, Walter Nolan's a guy that's bounced all over the place. At one point, he said he was going to make his commitment once he reached a certain number of Instagram followers. Walter Nolan's a guy that's caught up in the process. Rodney Garner would do good things for Walter Nolan. But can they make an impact on Tyree West, Jeffrey Mabah? You talk about a defensive line that would become a huge asset. How many times did Rodney Garner pull players away from Tennessee when he was coaching elsewhere? Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. If you have not done so yet, please smash that thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, you can go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' Vols Network. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin' Vols. But that's going to wrap it up. This is the Talkin' Vols Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.